Alright, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the stable. Got another fun one. I was thinking about doing the best pod for every team. And originally I was thinking like under 10, 8%, but I thought we'll send it. I thought everyone probably knows those pods that are around like 7, 8%, the big ones. So we're going to go best pods under 5%. So we're really getting down in the weeds here. And there's actually a couple of pearlers that even I've tried to look at getting in. Now, I know the last video said I'm done. Full disclosure, I've already made one trade since that last update. We'll get to that next week. But yeah, best pods under 5% every team. There's got to be one. And there's a couple that really shocked me as well that made it to under 5%. But we'll kick it off in no particular order, starting with Melbourne. Well, I'll be honest, this isn't order. I went to the AFL table on Google, and I thought it was just going to give me alphabetical. And it gave me this random order. And I was like, you know what? I'm going with it. So we start with Melbourne, believe it or not. Oh, we got that sorted. The PC was playing funny buggers. Melbourne, first one. If we go to the own percent, I have picked all the way down here at 3% Caleb Windsor. Now, Harvey Langford 6 and Latrell Pickett's 5. I've decided not even to do 5. It has to be 4 or under, so under 5%. But back to Windsor. Some will say Rivers, risky, but so is Windsor. There's a little bit of chit chat that Windsor's going to get a lot of centre bounce this year. And if he's not at centre bounce, there's talk he might be at half back when he's not at centre bounce. And then he'll probably float through wing. But there's been a little bit of chit chat that he's going to be a bit of a jumper. Whether that translates to Supercoach, we don't know. But at 3%, so even at 3%, I feel like a few people have heard this because I don't think Windsor would have any percent if there was no chatter about him. I actually looked, this is one I thought I could try to get in, but again, I'm happy with my squad at the moment. I'm just going to get rid of all my subs so that we have no issue getting these players in. So I can have them on the screen. But yeah, we're going to put Windsor in. Where'd he go? 3%. He's my pod for Melbourne. Big pod. He's risky. He's one of the riskier ones because like 280k. I reckon he'll go higher than 280k, even if it doesn't go great, but still. It's an awkward price for Caleb Windsor. The next one, we're doing St Kilda. Where's the St Kilda? There she is. I have gone. This is another heavy shout. I think he's on 0%. As you can see, Naz 52, Sinclair 8. This bloke Fincher is 5%. No idea. Scroll down, you got Taru on 1%, 279 real awkward. Wilkie 500, Dougal Howard. But I've gone all the way down to Darcy Wilson, 2%. Very similar to Windsor. Some chit chat about Wilson. Possibly getting some CBA. Possibly on the wing full time. Floating everywhere. It's confident that Lion likes him. There he is. All right. Difficulties again. The PC is playing funny buggers today. But yeah, Wilson. Awkward price, 335. Again, we're doing pods under 5%. And at 2%, if you like I said, Patrick Said and Fincher. I've got no intel on. Jack Carroll I get, but he's 8%, so he's over our threshold. Paddy Dow at 1%. Man, everyone thought this bloke was a jet. And it just didn't happen. I almost just changed my mind, because I'm not going to lie. I think I'm going to change my mind. It's Marcus Windhager is their biggest pod. Windhager is their biggest pod at 0%. 0% for Windhager. He averaged 82 and he might just keep going up. He gets tackles. He could average 90, 95 at 440. Big 0%. Big pod. I actually don't mind that. Next one is Collingwood. Now here I went, where is he? Where is he? We have to go back to the defense. It's Dan Houston. 2%. Now, 430k for Dan Houston. But if you forget last year, it doesn't sound real. Last year was last year. Josh Dacos was at the halfback. All reports he's moving. All reports he's moving to midfield. They might give Houston the position that he's best at. If I actually click Houston quickly, what was his season? Can we see his season before? Season 24, what was his average? 106, 23, 106, 22, 99. So it was the 2 seasons there. But he averaged 71 last year? What did he average last year? 79. He's going to go better than that. 430k, Dan Houston. And what was it, 2%? 2%. No one has him. No one. Dan Houston. He's a gun. I'm surprised it went that poorly for him last year, but it is what it is. I reckon he bounces. Whether he bounces back up to 105, we don't know. If he gets the role, he will. But we have to wait and see. So the next one is the Premiers, Brisbane. Who did I go here? Let's go own. We're going back to the midfield. This one was massive. So you've got a few here. You've got Bailey at 3%, which I went. But then I looked down and Josh Dunkley at 2%. He averaged 114.8. Let's round it up, 115. He averaged 115. He was M7 by the end of the year last year. M7 in the league. 2%, 620k, expensive. Oh, I feel like he's probably always a pod. Every year he's always been a pod. That is absurdity. If he goes worse, it'll be 110. Like if he's dropping off, it's not going to be crazy, and he can dob a 170. He's one of these that'll dob a 170. So yeah, at 2%, berserk. He's got the same percent as Levi. That baffles me. Lockie Neal's jumped up to 1%. Keep your eyes peeled. He was 0% for the first month, January. He's jumped up to 1%. Some people are jumping on. He might be the best pod, Lockie Neal. If he's going to do Lockie Neal, and this, for whatever, how it doesn't faze him, whatever's happening, we don't know that situation, right? But if he does Lockie Neal, he could be the best pod. But I'm going Dunkley. 2% for Dunkley is insulting. Our next one is Port Adelaide. Now, I have gone here. We're still in the mid, but I think I can't put him forward. Anyway, the horny one. 511k. Port Adelaide's a funny one. If you can see that, you can't see it because I think I've got it hidden because it's on the plus. But 57% for Rosie, 54% for Will Brodie, 53% for Butters. The horny one's at 1%, and he's the 5th. Jack Watkins is at 2%. I've got no idea who Jack Watkins is. But 1% for the horny one. He can dob a 170 too. 150 to 170, but he can also dob a 70. But as a pod, he's a pod that could pop off at any time. He's 511k. And their run, everyone's on Rosie and Butters because of their run. Horn Francis will benefit from their run as well, even if he's forward. Massive pod. Probably the biggest pod yet at 1%. Biggest pod ever. And price. Like he might go up in price. He might be 600k by the end of the year. We don't know. Massive pod. Horn Francis. Next up we have Carlton. Let me sort that out. This one's a bit stock standard. Still in the mid. A lot of these seem to be in the mid. But it is Cripper. 1%. 1% have Cripper. Average 97 last year. It's a funny one because he's probably going to do the exact same thing. I don't think you're going to see him jump up to like 105, 110. He's not going to fall to 85. He'll average 95 to 100 again. He'll dob some big weeks. He doesn't really have bad weeks. So it's one of those pods that's just going to be consistent. So I'm not going there. Carlton's a funny one because Jagger's got 75%, then Walsh has 9, and then you've got a couple of 1s and all 0s. But Cripps is still Cripps. He's still a very good player. So you're not going to go wrong having Cripps in your Supercoach team, that's for sure. Next is the Kangas. Let's go to the Kangas. Now for the Kangas, I went... Oh, dare I say it. Okay, dare I say it. I've gone LDU. 2%. 2% are willing to go there again. I feel like every Supercoach player has a burn story from LDU. Every single player. He burnt me once. I know he's burnt a lot of people before. But then if you get him when he goes good, it's good. It's 520k. 2% he still averaged 97. Like he averaged the same as Cripps last year. That's surprising me a little because I felt like he had a bit of a shocker. He re-signed. Maybe he settles. He has that potential to be unreal. So yeah, if you want to take the punt, it's not a bad punt to take. I don't think LDU is a bad punt to take. It's just the history of burning he's done to people. 2%, big pod. He can score big too when he wants to. He can go monstrous. It's just Kanga's going to get better too. I'm not sure. But LDU, we've gone there. That's a dense one. GWS is up next. Where's GWS? There we go. And big one here is Tom Green. And a lot of midfield pods. A lot of these are midfield pods. 2% for Tom Green, 2% for Caniglio, 3% for Oliver. But obviously it's Tom Green. Callahan's at 15, so he's dominating GWS. Average 110. 599. Under 600 by a smidge. Under 600. 2%. Consistent. Again, it might be the outside player's year. That's the thought I'm going with, the outside player year. I've stayed away from a lot of inside mids, and Tom Green is an inside mid. But I still don't think you're going to go wrong with Tom Green, honestly. 2% people have Tom Green. Who's next? Richmond. Richmond was also tricky because you got Grilge at 42%, Smiley 28%, Rechko 22%, Cumming 10%. Then it drops all the way to 1%. And I think I've gone to the 0% here. I have. I'm surprised this bloke's at 0%. Hold on, he might not be. Because I was in forwards. Where is he? It is Taj Houghton. He's at 1%. Last year we were all waiting for him to play because the news is he is a gun. And he did come in and played what it ended up 7 matches ended up being by the end of the year. Averaged 55. I think he might have had the vest a couple of games. Let's have a quick look. Well, that doesn't help. And it's just reset everything. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. Let's have a look at this quickly. Season 25 stats. Where's his game? Might not have been vest. He might not actually never have been vest, to be honest. Average 55. He's probably going to get a run all year. We're going to tip he's going to get the run all year. So I just think he's a good pick. And Richmond, everyone's got the ones you want. So you're probably not picking pods from Richmond, if I'm being honest, but we're doing every team. So, yeah. All right, now that we've got that fixed and back up, we are going to Fremantle. I've gone a bit rogue with this one. Where is he? Let's just go flex so I can find him. He's a defender. I've gone Cooper Simpson here. I've gone Cooper Simpson at 1%. Jordan Clark's at 8. If we go flex just to see who else I've got under 5, you've got Murphy Reed at 2, Mason Cox at 2. Bolton's a big one at 1%, but he's so hot and cold. Cooper Simpson, if any players from last year, this dude was everyone's saviour, and then he got injured. Everyone jumped on Cooper Simpson. He had the halfback role. He was coming in hot, scoring decent, big injury. I don't think we saw him again. I think we saw him in the last game. But that coach rates him. If he gets in the team and is consistent, he will score well. He's 170k. This is probably the riskiest pod on here. But I didn't want to go Bolton. Bolton's probably the one that makes sense. Brayshaw's at 5%, so he just moves out of my threshold because it would be Brayshaw. I think he might be, if we're just talking out that 5% a pod, which it is in normal situations, Andrew Brayshaw might be the biggest pod in the game right now for me. But back to Cooper Simpson, risky one. I feel like we've all forgot about him. And last year he was everyone's 9 shining armour. So just keep your eyes peeled for Cooper Simpson. We're going to Essendon, and this one was pretty simple. I almost didn't want to go there, but we did go there. It's Zach Merritt at 3%. Now, Archie Roberts is 4%, and I wanted to go Archie Roberts because I'm red hot on Archie Roberts right now. I think Archie Roberts is going to have a big year, increase in money, increase his value, but I mean, Zach Merritt doesn't miss when it comes to this. He averaged 107. I want to click on his stats, but this is going to disappear again. He just doesn't miss. He always scores well. I don't think this stuff's going to throw him off that just happened. He wants an extension. Let's not get started on him wanting an extension after what happened last year. 3% for Zach Merritt. If I come up against teams and see they have Zach Merritt, I'm a little bit stressed because I know he can score 140s common very regularly. I mean, not very regularly, but he can do it. He's a big one. Like, he might be the biggest pod. Him and Tom Green are sitting pretty right now as the biggest pods on this list. Under 5%. Wild. All right, now we're going to go to Adelaide. Adelaide was a bit tricky. Rankin's over 8%, Dawson 7%. And then Curtin's injured. But I ended up going with Saligo, and he's at 0%. 480k. This one was a tough one. He's not going to change much price. He averaged 90. He might average 95. It'll be decent to have, but you're not. This one's Adelaide's a tricky one because you're not going to pick Saliga because what are you doing? He's just going to stay 480, 500. So unless you just want that uber consistent player that always scores like 90, 95, which he does seem to always score. But yeah, it's a bit of a mispod, that one. But Adelaide don't seem to have many pods. People have the Adelaide players you want. Sid Draper's still 39%, so that injury hasn't scared people away right now, which is surprising. It scared me away. I'm gone. All right, we're going over to the Gold Coast. And we went back to the mid. Actually, no, is he defender? He might be defender this year. Where is he? Touk Miller. He is just a pure mid. Oh, that hurts. I thought he was a defender this year, but he's at 1%. I probably thought he was a defender because the talk is was taking kick-ins at Sims the other day. If Touk Miller's taking kick-ins, that's very interesting, but he's 586. He ain't cheap. He averaged 108. So I do think people forget he scores that well. I forget he scores that well. Like 108, if you asked me what Touk Miller averaged last year, I wouldn't have said over 100. But he averaged 108. Yeah, 1% owned. He has to go somewhere because that midfield is stacked now. So it would make sense to Miller to halfback, taking kick-ins. It could be one of the boldest moves you'd go early. If he has that role, because there's talk Rioli's going to the wing. Now, I don't know if that'd be a great... I think Rioli is unbelievable halfback. He's probably a great wingman too. But I feel like you could just put Miller on the wing. But in Supercoach terms, if Tuke Miller's halfback and taking kick-ins, he might be top 6 defender by the end of the year. 4th, D4, D3. You don't know, man. He could be massive. But he's not cheap. So if you're going Tuke Miller, you're going to keep him. You're not going to rise up and all that in his price. But again, massive pod, 1%. 1% going Tuke. All right, we're moving over to Geelong. Geelong. And it's probably because he's only mid-only this year, but it's Max Holmes. This time last year, we had him in defense. I think if you could get Max Holmes in defense, even at 600k flat, he'd be well over 5% owned. But at 2%, even in mid-only, at 2%, that is a pod and a half. He's that age where he's just going to keep getting better. He averaged 110 last year. I just think he averages more because he's just going up and up and up and up. Max Holmes, massive pod. Massive. I can't look at getting him in because of the mid. And I think that's where everyone is. If by round 6 he has mid defense, which who knows how they're going to do the round 6 DDPs this year because they've been really strict on before season. So I'll imagine it's going to be real strict by round 6. But if you go on Holmes, you're not going to miss. You're going to keep him. You're going as a keeper. But yeah, he's a cracking pick. Just, it's a very awkward mid-only 600k. But as a pod, winner. All right, who we got left? We've got 4 teams left. We're going the Hawks. Rogue one here. Josh Ward, 1%. Now you've got McKenzie 1%, Ambrosio 1%, Newcomb is 2%. You could go Newcomb. Newcomb might be the right answer here, honestly, at 2%. I am going to change it. I'm going to change it. He's 516k. It's John Newcomb. Josh Ward is looking to take the Warple role, and Will Day's injured again, so there's going to be space in there for Ward to rotate. But Newcomb's only 60k more expensive, and he'll always be in there. And Newcomb is that age also where he's probably just going to get better and better. 2%. Jai Newcomb, he might average 100. He averaged 95 last year. He could average 100. That's not going to shock anyone. It's just awkward because he's not going to... I don't think anyone thinks Newcomb's going to explode to like a 115, 120. So if you're bringing him in, you're kind of just using him as a placeholder to maybe upgrade later and hope for some banging scores early, which isn't a bad strategy, especially when they're a pod. But yeah, Josh Ward is also looking decent. In the preseason, the talk is he's going well, but yeah, if it's between them two, you have to go John Newcomb. Don't know why I was picking Josh Ward last night first when I was doing my notes, but I must have felt a bit risky. Next is Sydney. Oh yeah, this one's an easy one. Easy peasy Isaac Heaney. 4%. He just makes it. I think he's our only 4%. 4% of people have Heaney. If you have Heaney, people will be terrified. When I see Heaney on the team, I'm stressed because he can drop 170s. He can drop 200s. He can drop 190s. Papley being injured, he'll probably be forward more, which might hurt a little bit. But like I said, if you've been watching my vids, everyone knows how hot I am on Heaney this year. The Papley thing hurt. But if you have Isaac Heaney in your team, you're not going wrong. 590k, He's worth every dollar. He's worth every dollar. Yeah. You're not missing with Isaac Heaney. Next one is West Coast. West Coast Weagles, mate. West Coast Weagles. This was honestly, I'll just be honest, I threw a dart at the wall here. I went Bailey J. Williams at 1%. I ain't gonna lie. Just because he's got DDP ruck forward. The average one, I need to have a look at this again, to be honest. Because Robertson's on 55%, Lindsay's 46, Dersman 43, McRae 42, Cooper Duff Tyler 17, Reed 14, McCarthy 10, Schuenberg 6%, and then you got like Bo Allen 2%. Fred Rodriguez, who is that? 2%. 99k, 2%. Fred Rodriguez. Starcevic 1%. It might be Starcevic. I'm changing off Jay Williams, though, to Ruben Jimby. Ruben Jimby's 1% as well. But it's just... No, I'm going back to Bailey J. Williams because of the price. He's cheaper. Honestly, don't look for a pod at West Coast. If you if you want my opinion, leave West Coast out of your pod options right now. Because I've literally picked a 280k ruckman because he has DDP. He averaged 52 last year. It's stiff there. It's stiff, yeah. Let's move on. You could go Jimby, but he's 380. But Jimby, I like Jimby as a player, but I don't know if it resorts to Supercoach. Last one we got here is the Bulldogs. And we have gone... Oh, this is a massive one. Ed Richards. Absolute massive. Where is he? 2%. 2% for Ed Richards. Average 111. Again, the age, he's just going to get better and better. He probably averages 115 this year. Can drop big 140s. Pretty consistent. He doesn't have many stinkers. 2% for Ed Richards. I don't know how you go past it. The other one there is Bailey Dale's at 3%, but he can have stinkers. If you go on Bailey Dale, enjoy the 150s, but also enjoy the 70s. It happens. Trust me. The Baby Bont was 4% last night, but he's now 5%, so it doesn't even matter. But Baby Bont, it's just awkward price. He's at 420. But he could improve from 80 average to 95. He really could. Cody Waitman at 1%. He's fit. They're talking he's fit. Big injuries last year. Ready to go 220k. Could be... If Ed Richards wasn't 2%, this is Cody Waitman, this pod. But yeah, you can't go past Ed Richards. Not many people have him. Everyone knows he's a Jet, but yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, there's my... Why doesn't that look like enough played? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm missing 2 teams. Who am I missing? Oh, we figured it out. It was LDU. He was somehow slipped out of the system. I don't know if that was something trying to save us all from the burn again, but I've got him back there. And there you go. That's all the best pods under 5% for every team. Peace.